All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, we've got our field of four set for this season's edition of the college football playoff, and there really shouldn't be any surprises. Cincinnati's going to face Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, while Michigan and Georgia will get it on in the Orange Bowl. Now, Alabama deserved to be the top seed after what they did to Georgia yesterday in the SEC championship game, and that is how the Crimson Tide are entering this tournament. Now, after losing to Michigan, Michigan State responded nicely to finish the regular season. They went on the road, they beat Penn State, they beat Ohio State at home, and then, of course, last night we saw them throttle Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. I've been saying it for some time now, and it came to fruition. Regardless of what Georgia did or did not do in Atlanta in the SEC championship game, they were in the field of four. And I think the committee believes that as well, as Georgia is the three seed. Now, rounding out this quartet, Cincinnati ran the table this year. And with their win over Houston yesterday in the American Athletic Conference Championship game, along with the Oklahoma State loss, because I really felt that if Oklahoma State had beaten Baylor, as they were ranked number five, that would have caused a little bit of questioning whether Oklahoma State would have jumped in front of Cincinnati. But of course, Oklahoma State losing, and then of course Cincinnati taking care of their business just solidified them getting the last slot in the field of four. Now you look at the teams that barely missed out. You have Notre Dame as the fifth seed, and I said it before when the Irish finished the regular season that not playing in the conference championship game was going to hurt them. And then of course, who they played coming down the stretch, you weren't going to get a lot of cool points, so to speak, for beating up on Georgia Tech and Stanford, respectively. Sixth, you have Ohio State, and the Buckeyes. They finished sixth in the rankings, and it clearly showed that the committee liked them because Ohio State was ranked number two prior to them facing Michigan. But then they lost to Oregon and Michigan this year while also being unable to win the Big Ten. So you knew once Ohio State um, lost to Michigan, that really was going to hinder their chances. Now, looking ahead to this field of four, it's tough to bet against Nick Saban and Alabama in December and January based on their track record. Then you look at Jim Harbaugh. Him in Michigan, they were finally able to get over the hump against Ohio State. And now, for the most part, they're off to the races. Georgia was the best team this regular season. And I think the committee, like I said before, I think they still recognize that. And then I know some people are going to question it, but Cincinnati deserves to be here. They were one of the better teams all year long in college football. Them going to South Bend and beating Notre Dame definitely helped their case. And they beat some good teams. They beat a good Houston team yesterday, and you cannot overlook that. And the Bearcats definitely deserve to be here. I know that there are going to still be some people that question and say, should the playoff be expanded? It probably will at some point, but I don't think it should. I mean, look at the track record. For the most part, in the semifinals, we typically get blowouts every single year. There's really only a handful of teams, or less than a handful of teams, that really have a legit shot or legit case, rather, to be in the field of four. And, if we were going by the proposed expansion, you look at it right now. I mean, Pitt won the ACC, no disrespect to them, but what damage could Pitt do in this college football playoff? The same thing could be said with a Utah, another feel good story, or even Baylor. These are schools that won their respective Power Five conferences, but I don't see them holding a flame to the majority of the players, so to speak, in this current field of four for this year's edition of the college football playoff. Now, you look at the teams that are in this college football playoff, and you ask yourself, what does Alabama need to do to win it all? And first and foremost, they just need to keep playing like they did yesterday. We saw Alabama execute flawlessly in every phase of the game. Their O line did a great job in protecting Bryce Young. We saw what their receivers can do. course, they're going to have to do it now with John without John Mechie, and then this opportunistic defense. For Michigan, what would they need to do to win it all? Michigan's going to have to keep playing perfect ball, and I say that because in order for Michigan to win it all, they're most likely going to have to beat both Georgia and Alabama. So first and foremost, Michigan's going to have to win the line of scrimmage against both of those teams, two very good defensive teams, and Cade McNamara is going to have to do make some plays with his arm. Now, Georgia, you ask yourself, what do the dogs have to do to win it all? Georgia definitely has to be shell shocked after what happened yesterday against Alabama. So they've got to go and just bury that game plan that they had and try to figure out something else. But that's going to be an issue because Georgia is not a great offensive team. They are predicated by what they do on defense. So, with that said, Georgia has to get back to that nasty from their front seven. We didn't see a lot of that after the first quarter yesterday against Alabama. That's going to be the key for Georgia as they look to rebound and win it all. And then finally, Cincinnati. What do the Bearcats need to do to win it all? Quarterback Desmond Ritter is going to have to play the best two games of his life because we saw Cincinnati play in the Peach Bowl last year against Georgia, and they gave Georgia all that they can handle. But giving Georgia and Alabama and Michigan all they can handle and winning are two different things. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Bearcats play out in this playoff. And I'm just hoping that the haters don't jump on Cincinnati should they lose to Alabama and say, well, they didn't belong there in the first place. No, they really do belong there. They are one of the best four teams in the nation, and they're the only undefeated team in this field of four. So I think we're set up for an interesting semifinal. I know that a lot of people are waiting to see if we're going to get a rematch of Georgia and Alabama in the national championship game. But you know what? You can't just pencil that in right away. Cincinnati and Michigan will both have something to say about this. But the bottom line is the right four teams made this field of four for the college football playoff. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.